Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. I'm Kevin Coleman. I'm joined by Joe Mixie. We'll have John Kovacs join us later in the show. We're going to be covering the Grip It and Rip It tournament from this past weekend. Of course, Iona Prep took home the crown, but we're going to be covering all the SCAC teams that we saw throughout. We're going to look at some highlights, even some interviews that we had. But right now, I'm going to be joined right now by my co-host today, Joe Mixie, who is going to get us caught up on some Bridgeport Bluefish updates. But for right now, we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw last night on ESPN during the 2017 Home Run Derby. You know, of course, we have some Yankee fans who are local watching, and of course, your slugger, Aaron Judge. The Judge was in session last night. Aaron Judge winning the Home Run Derby, even hitting a 513-foot bomb last night in Miami. And Joe, I'm welcoming you in. Just your initial reaction last night, you waking up this morning, your thoughts on what you saw last night at the Home Run Derby.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people expecting Aaron Judge. They just wanted to see what he could do. And I think it was just very exciting for everybody to get a look at the Baby Bombers in there in the Home Run Derby. It started off as a nice night for the Yankee fans because you had Gary Sanchez come out and defeat Giancarlo Stanton in a big upset there. So everybody thought, oh, Stanton's going to come in, he's going to blow through. And you had a lot of the new format issues, which we should talk about in a second.
That's right.
Yeah, Aaron Judge wins. You can't be surprised at that. You wanted him to step up and hit home runs over 500 feet. And you did that. He hit 3 of them, including that 513 one that you talked about. So it's just great for baseball, I think. If you're a baseball fan, you want to see Judge come in there and storm it out. And even that one right there at the end where he beat Justin Bour, and there was kind of confusion as to if he's tied, if the home run that hit the ceiling was going to count because we were in the Dome there in Miami. And he goes, okay, and he steps up and he hits another one. So I think it's great for Aaron Judge, great for the Yankees, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do in his future. But he really put the work in there, and I don't think it definitely shouldn't be taken away from him as to what he accomplished last night.
And I think you also forget that he went up against Justin Bour last night, and Bour put up 22, and you thought, okay, Aaron Judge really has to put on a show here. He has to hit 23 to beat Bour, who really put on a great show. And you know, you're kind of thinking to yourself at home on the couch, maybe, oh boy, it's going to be a tough task for Aaron Judge, and he really came out and did a wonderful job. And of course, you know, not only beat Bour, but had to go beat Cody Bellinger, who for the Los Angeles Dodgers, another rookie, another new face of Major League Baseball, who is taking the league by storm. So Aaron Judge put on a great showcase, and I'm glad you mentioned Gary Sanchez too, because he did a nice job as well. And a topic that I think needs to be talked about is not only about, we'll talk about the rules in a second, but do you think Major League Baseball is doing enough to get these new faces, you know, across the league, across the country, and even across the globe? Do you think they're getting enough face time, or do you think MLB needs to showcase their young talent more?
Well, I'll say this. I'm kind of a sports conservative in nature. I don't think that the league should be, you know, involved in necessarily showcasing or not showcasing anybody. Let the sports play out. You know, it's about the athletes. It's about playing the sport. It's not necessarily about the entertainment. I know entertainment's a factor and money's a factor, but I don't like when people come in and go, yeah, well, that's a bad move for the league because it's going to draw away attention. You know, a good example of that is Sergio Garcia, one of the masters, went, oh, yeah, that's not good for golf. Well, you know what? It's great for the athletes. If you're a fan of sports, if you're a fan of athletics, you're going to watch that because you're going to be excited. Something new is happening. And it all plays out as to, you know, who's going to step up and be the best. This is a career, a job, and it takes a lot of hard work. So I think it's great to be able to see young guys like Gary Sanchez and like Aaron Judge and like Cody Bellinger. And you know what? Baseball gets a lot of airtime in America in general. You know, locally here, regionally, we have Sports New York that broadcasts the Mets. We have the S Network that broadcasts the Yankees. We have ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Really, you can find it any day of the week. You have, you know, the Fox Sports regional channels. So today's day and age, we consume media very rapidly. You can go out and find your own highlights.
Definitely.
I don't think it's necessarily on the MLB to go and showcase their younger talent. If somebody does something respectable, then you talk about it, and then we can all go watch him and see how his career pans out. I love the exposure of young baseball athletes. I think that we get a lot of it, especially within the minor leagues. I think we should take more of our attention and put it on younger athletes who are thriving and less on guys like Tim Tebow. That's just me. But
And you also have to remember the Red Sox fans here. Some of them get Nesson as well if you're a Red
Yeah.
Sox fan. So,
Yes, sure.
but let's talk about the rules for a second. I know throughout the years they've changed the home run derby rules a little bit, and you look back and from the late '90s to those big sluggers in the early 2000s to now. Now it's timed, and you're going up against someone else, and you can call that timeout. Talk a little bit about how do you like these rules? Do you think they should be changed, or what do you think about these rules that MLB has stated for the home run derby?
You know what, I really wasn't particularly a fan of the new rules changes, and I know I just talked about, the league shouldn't interfere, but I think that the rules that they had before were a little bit more free-flowing and allowing the athletes to kind of, think for themselves a little bit more and kind of outperform the other one, because you don't necessarily have guys beating each other into the ground in the bracket play. So you have single elimination brackets. You have a 4-minute time limit instead of 10 outs. You have the 5-second rule where a ball can't be hit until the ball comes back down. You have to have 5 seconds in between pitches. That's kind of limiting guys, I think, into, this is supposed to be about who can perform the best, who can hit the most home runs. And when you put too much of a limitation where you have to have, this guy has to face this guy in a bracket, and what if, somebody wins 20-19 and somebody wins 10-9, you're kind of thinking about that. What I did like is that it kept it very close. It was a very close home run derby, and you were sitting on the edge of your seat. You had that with Gary Sanchez. You had that with Aaron Judge a couple of times. I thought that was good because, I was watching it with a group of people. Some people were baseball fans, some people weren't, and we were all very entertained by that, and we all liked watching the sheer athleticism of these players. Do I like somebody, stepping up and, hitting 30 home runs while somebody else hits 10, and then you take the top and you advance them? Does it drag out a little bit? Yes, but I ultimately like that format a little bit better.
Well, I think we also just have to respect what Aaron Judge did last night, because, again, this is something that we don't normally see, and this is a thing that I think a lot of people marveled last night was his performance. So congratulations to Aaron Judge. And I think now is a good time to switch gears over to local baseball on the professional side. It's the Bridgeport Bluefish, who are right down the road on I-95. And there's no one better that knows the Bridgeport Bluefish than Joe Mixie. And Joe, this team coming out of the break is playing lights out, best record in the league right now. What's going well for the Bluefish right now?
Well, I think, I talk about this a lot when I'm on the Bluefish Broadcast Network. I interview the players, and I talk to a lot of the front office personnel around there, and it's kind of just building a different atmosphere around, combining really good lights-out pitching with good, consistent hitting. And I think sometimes you have teams that have one or the other, and they, they struggle with putting runs on the board. And, Bridgeport, their weakness right now, and I'll talk about this a little bit, is fielding. You don't necessarily have to be the best fielding team to, go out and win a championship. You have to be one of the best pitching teams, and you have to be the best hitting team to go out and win a championship. Those are two very fundamental aspects of going out and playing good baseball. I think Bridgeport has that right now. They're 45-32. We're in the Atlantic League All-Star break right now. Play is going to resume this weekend. Bridgeport came out, took 2 of 3 in a home weekend series against the New Britain Bees. So that was good for them to be able to take down New Britain. They have won, oh goodness, I think they're somewhere around 13-2 or 14-2 against New Britain on the year. So they're New Britain and York are the two teams they just played. They're absolutely obliterating both of them, and both of them are in the basement in the Atlantic League, the two worst teams. So they had a few games back and forth. They went York, New Britain, York, New Britain. They're going to come out of the All-Star break and play York. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're playing good baseball because they're playing teams that are not performing well. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. So they didn't win the first half. The best record right now is really all for show. What you need to focus on is winning the second half. Right now they're half a game ahead of Somerset. There's only been 7 games in the second half. The All-Star break kind of comes right after the second half of the season begins, and then you really get into crunch time. A lot of games in the month of August. Bridgeport in the All-Star game has 5 All-Stars representing the Fish. You see them right there on your screen. Rainey Laura is a pitcher for the Bluefish. He's in their starting rotation, tied for the most wins on the season, 7 wins. Corey Reardon, who played for the Fish back in 2015, has the second most strikeouts in the league of anybody. Darby Myers was an outfielder who plays in center field. He was acquired in a trade earlier this season from the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, right now second in the league in batting average. Luis Hernandez, he's a shortstop, former major leaguer that's been on the Bluefish for the last couple of years. He brings the team consistency. He's hitting second in the lineup. He's a good leadoff hitter when they need him to. as well. He's batting .276, a lot of experience for him. And then David Carpenter, he's been the big surprise, the big star of the team this year. The relief pitcher leads the league in saves at 27. That is more than Bridgeport had all of last season combined. That is more than David Carpenter has had in any other of his seasons playing professional or minor league, or I should say 40-man roster or minor league baseball combined. 27 saves, leads the league in saves, and he's had those opportunities. He's been thankful for that, and Bridgeport has really, come through at the end, led by David Carpenter. So you see your 5 Atlantic League All-Stars. They're going to play in the All-Star game over at TD Bank Ballpark in Bridgewater Township, New Jersey tomorrow. So it's good to see them, but they've been leading the team. Darby Myers is a great hitter. A couple of guys that aren't on there, Sean Burrows, who is he was a former Major League staple. He's kind of been back and forth with the team, just getting off paternity leave. He's a player coach this year. He's leading the league in batting average. Jonathan Galvez, who wasn't on there as well, could kind of be a snub. He's leading the team in home runs with 10 of them. He's been a power hitter. He's leading the team in RBIs as well. Just 26 years old, and he's having one of his best seasons that he's ever had. Spent a couple of years in and out of minor league baseball, and if you're a Yankee fan, he played for Scranton Wilkes-Barre a couple of years ago. Was in and out of the Yankees farm system. So I think it's about bringing the hitting and the pitching together. You can see that in who was brought to the All-Star roster for Bridgeport. Just 5 of them, but I think 5 very good players. And, you just get yourself mentally back in the position to do well once play starts up again on Friday.
Now, they have a half-game lead over the Somerset Patriots right now. And during the second half, of course, they didn't win that first half, title, but coming out of the gates, this is a red-hot Bluefish team, going into the break. What do they need to do in this second half in order to make the playoffs and really make that big push to be one of the best teams to make it to the championship?
Well, like I said before, they have had a little bit of an easy stretch. Their last 4 series, they've played the 2 worst teams. In that time, they've been 10-4. They're going to come out of the gate. They're going to play York again. And then after that, they're going to have a little bit more competition. You take a look at the schedule, and they haven't faced Somerset, the Patriots, in some time, and that's a bit of rival of the Bluefish. And then you have the Ferry Cup, Long Island, and the Bluefish, Long Island playing at Bethpage Ballpark over in Central Islip. So they're going to see them coming out of the break at the end of the month. But it's York and then Somerset and Southern Maryland. So the Blue Crabs and the Patriots, 2 of the best teams in the league right now, so they're going to have a little bit of that tougher competition. You got to make sure that the game isn't getting away from you in the early innings. You got to make sure starting pitching is coming through, and that's been very important for Bridgeport. They've had a solid rotation. They've had a couple of pitchers like Charles Brewer and Randy Lara, and Jonathan Aboladejo as well, who are those pitchers that kind of pitch for contact. They throw the ball a little bit lower. You can ground it into the field. You can pick it up and throw it over and make the put out. The defense has been good. It doesn't reflect it in the stats. They're last in the league in fielding percentage, and they've committed the most errors. But they get the job done. They move it through, and the offense has been resilient and responsive. That needs to happen as well. Something about the Bluefish that certainly does help them is the amount of home games that they're going to have in the remainder of the month of July. So they play the first 10 games out of the next 17, or excuse me, 10 of the next 17 games out of the break are going to be at the ballpark at Harbor Yard at home. 17 games played in the month of July out of 26, so 17 to 26 in July are at the ballpark at Harbor Yard. They go into the All-Star break 7-3 in the month of July. They had positive months in April, May, and June. You can just see their success right there, 13 games over 500. So you ask, what do they need to do? I think you start the game hot. You put a run or 2 up on the board in the first 3 innings. Their lineup has been great. Darby Myers and All-Stars leading off, and then Hernandez. And then you have a couple of guys that have been kind of spotty this year. Jose Cuevas, who batted cleanup for him the majority of the year last year, hit a 3-run home run back on Friday against New Britain. He's batting around 250, 260, not amazing. Daniel Fields is batting cleanup. He's a big, heavy hitter. You bring in Andrew Lambo. He's a former Major League player. So you put some power on the roster as well. I'll tell it to you like this in conclusion, Kevin. The Atlantic League is a lot of guys that are really trying to play to get back into higher-level affiliated baseball. So you talk to the manager, Luis Machete Rodriguez. He says, we want to get these guys out of here. He goes, I told this team that at the beginning it's certainly not going to be the same team at the end of the season as it's going to be at the beginning. We want guys to get signed. They just had a couple of pitchers signed, so you don't know who's going to be around. It's kind of a next man up atmosphere. So if the team has a positive atmosphere, older guys are helping younger guys, and you're getting out there and putting hits on the board, it's going to lead to some success.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing how the Bluefish do the remainder part of the year. We're going to step aside, Joe and I, but when we get back, John Kovach is going to join us, and we're going to cover what we saw from this past weekend at the Grip It and Rip It tournament. You're watching Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network.
Celebrate summer with fresh made-to-order picnic boxes from Walter Stewart's Market. We have delicious summery selections from buttermilk fried chicken to grilled lemon chicken kebab, grilled shrimp Caesar salad wraps, or lobster salad rolls. Our easy-to-carry picnic boxes come with your choice of a meal, as well as a dessert, beverage, and utensils. Order online for simple pickup options. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and online at stewartsmarket.com.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside.
Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
School's out, the weather is hot, and the fish are biting. Whether you're heading to the beach or out on a boat, stop in at the dock shop before you go to fill your beach bag or tackle box with everything you'll need for fun in the sun. A new beach cover-up, some sunscreen, or just some bait, the dock shop has you covered from either location. 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. And yes, you heard that right. Bait is now available in Darien and Westport. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. DockShop.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance Event. Going on now through July 31st.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Kevin Coleman, Joe Mixie, and we are now joined by the one and only Johnny Hook and Ladder Kovach. Johnny, how you doing?
You couldn't handle more than one of me, I'll tell you that right now, Coleman. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Well, we were just at the Grip It and Rip It tournament this past weekend. Just your thoughts on what you saw.
It's not real football. It's not football in pads. But I think everybody who participated got something out of it. In talking to some of the coaches, they felt like they were getting something out of it, like routes were being refined. I thought we saw some very good defense by some teams. The defense kind of stood out a little bit. And I know I was caught off guard at the end because I did not see that coming. But what a great finish.
And out of those FCIAC teams that we saw, what team really stood out to you the most?
I thought Greenwich showed it is developing John Marinelli's personality. I was very impressed by the New Canaan defense. I thought they broke on the ball very, very well. Darien, I don't think I got enough of a look at, and a lot of talk about Norwalk being a sleeper this year. A lot of talk about the young quarterback, and I think they could be somebody that might shock somebody here.
And Joe, I know you were with us too. What team really stood out to you the most?
St. Joe's, absolutely.
St. Joe's, yeah.
Bringing the new quarterback in Summers, it looked like he had been playing with Phil Passmeg and Malazzi for years. It looked like they had been old friends. They came out there and they executed everything. I thought St. Joe's was playing great. They're moving down to Class S. That's going to be a huge advantage to them. Say what you want about it, but they're going to take that and they're going to run with it. I think that their real competition is going to be they got to step right up. They got to get everything. If you're a team like St. Joe's, you're in midseason form right now. Who's your week 1 opponent? It's New Canaan. You got to go to work right now. You got to make sure that you're 4 or 5 weeks in by the time you get over to Dunning Field to play New Canaan. If you don't, the Rams are going to come out. They're going to beat you down immediately. You said you were impressed by New Canaan. I mean, it's almost like you expect New Canaan and Darien year after year to come out and be dominant. I think that was good. We didn't kind of, Darien was on the other side of the field most of the time.
Yeah, we
so
didn't see a lot of Darien.
I thought they were strong as well. I got to take a look at them. They were running some, some good patterns out to the outside, some good fast football from them. Very, very impressed by your boy Gavin Muir. Comes in, runs that Greenwich offense immediately down the throat of the other teams. He looked like he had been up there for the last couple of years. Looked very well groomed. And I think that's got to get you excited. I know we didn't see too much in Norwalk either, but that new quarterback, his name escapes me right now, but I know that he was out there making a name for himself as well. I think it's a shame that the fields are being renovated. You only got to see 16 teams. Couldn't imagine, this was my first time at Grip It and Rip It, when they have 40 teams before. Oh my goodness.
It's tremendous because you've got games going on all those fields. And what really impressed me about New Canaan specifically was the way they were aggressively breaking on the ball. Just, specific parts of their defense really made me take notice.
Well, fellas, I know this is one of John's favorite times, but how about you say we break down some highlights? How about
that? Let's do that.
Sure.
All right, Mike, why don't we say we roll up some highlights here from what we saw from this past weekend, and we're going to start here. It's going to be St. Joe's and Greenwich. And John, I'll let you take away.
This is Stepanak and Greenwich.
Oh, excuse me, Stepanak, yeah.
Stepanak would make it to the final. Greenwich in the spread, where you saw a ton of crossing routes. Muir, that post is always open. Beautiful. No matter who runs it, it's always open, and I don't comprehend that. Little traffic there on Stepanak, but a great catch. Gets both. That receiver impressed me.
He did. And do you like it when quarterbacks step out like that?
Roll out? Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. It buys you time. I think so, Joe.
Something I liked about Stepanak, and you see the final game here between Stepanak and Iona Prep, what a thriller for that was. They were running the ball over the place. If you needed to go into the corner, they were running square outs, keeping his feet in.
Right.
Great job with that. Sometimes you don't see a great execution of that in high school, but they were running it like they were ready for, postgraduate play. If you had a long route where the guy would break away, running in on the post or running out on the flag route, he was ready. So they had speed and athleticism, and they were able to kind of be very scrappy and get in there. So I know these are New York teams that we don't see too much, but it was very entertaining. I loved watching it, and I think the Connecticut teams like Greenwich and New Canaan that were still there could learn a thing or two from these guys.
Both these teams like the flood concept a lot, the multiple outs, load up one zone and put somebody in a position where their decision is wrong. Stepanak loves the double move, and they have the athletes to run it. They will lull you into blanketing them, and then they'll put a double move on you. They'll run that hitch or that just stop, and then
well, they ran that hitch a couple of times, too, not just in this game, but a couple of times in their earlier games. And, John, if you remember, it looked like Stepanak was going to run away with this thing, but Iona Prep's defense really stood up and made some nice plays.
And this the play that we talked about, though.
The hook
now,
and ladder.
Stepanak gets the ball with 90 seconds left. I looked at the clock. It's a 25-second play clock. We believe they had a lead or it was tied. They run the hitch. It gets picked. Iona Prep runs the hook and lateral, and then right there, run the out, tuck it in inside the pylon.
Two huge plays for Iona Prep. That was the second one with the hurry-up offense. Earlier in the game, Iona Prep, after a Stepanak touchdown, completely stunned them, came up, brought four guys up to the line, called the play, scored a touchdown. The Stepanak sidelines were livid, but the game went on, and ultimately Iona used that to their advantage. So I love the fact that they were able to get up and just play. And these are two rivals here that come here to Connecticut. They're going to play in late October. So
October 28th, I circled it.
I think Johnny Kovac is going to get us some tickets. But a quick question is, for Darien, this was a team that, has had a great football program these last couple of years, really stands out. And, it seems like this team was a question mark, John.
A little bit. Again, I didn't see enough. I'm going to say incomplete because I didn't see enough of them.
Well, we're going to step aside real fast. When we come back, we're going to show some of the interviews we were able to have on Saturday's Grip It and Rip It tournament right here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance event. Going on now through July 31st.
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com and like us on Facebook.
I can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office. Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month. Isn't it time you got Millerized?
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866. If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports here on the HN Network. On Saturday at the Grip It and Rip It tournament, we were lucky enough to be able to be joined by some of the great football players who were out playing on the fields. And this interview, I was joined by 2 players from the St. Joe's Cadets football team, David Summers, the starting quarterback, and Jared Malazzi, the wide receiver. These 2 athletes are going to be talked about a lot during the fall. Let's take a look and hear what they had to say as they get ready for the upcoming season. To the HN Network. Kevin Coleman down here with David Summers of St. Joe's Football Cadets and Jared Malazzi. Jared, spoke to you last season during your junior year. You know, great connection with Corey Babineau, but now you're going to be working with David Summers. Just already, what's it like working with him during the 7-on-7 Grip It and Rip It tournament?
It's something new. He's got a lot of like fire on the ball when he's throwing it to me, so that's a lot different. He's taking chances, which I like to see out there because, you know, if you got one-on-one with somebody, I want him to throw the ball. I want him to be confident with all of his wide receivers.
Now, David, talk about the connection that you two have between one another. I mean, this is going to be a matchup that a lot of people are excited to see you throwing the ball already. You know, just talking to our broadcast, we've really enjoyed watching you two play already. What's it like throwing to Jared?
Well, it's certainly something new. I've never had a receiver as good as him. His routes are so quick, best hands I've ever seen. It's so nice to have a receiver like that to throw to.
Now talk about what's your off-season training program been like so far, getting ready to be the quarterback of the Cadets coming up this fall?
A lot of lifting, working out with my quarterback coach, going out to the field, throw some balls with the team, a lot of 7-on-7.
What's the one thing you're most excited about to be playing with the Cadets this upcoming fall?
Oh, I love the tradition at the school. I've been to some games here and there, and it's so fun to be there.
Now, Jared, what's your message here to David as he gets ready to be the new quarterback here for the Cadets this upcoming season?
Lots of confidence. You gotta be yourself when you're out there. You gotta be in the pocket, comfortable with your team and your blockers and your wide receivers. You gotta have that confidence. That's basically it.
And I see you rocking that visor and that helmet, almost like a little Odell. I know you told me last year you like to take part after Odell Beckham Jr. You know, is he still your guy?
Yeah, definitely. That's my guy. I like his taste on the field and how quick he is and his hands. It's always an excitement to see him play.
And David, is there a pro football player, quarterback that you grew up wanting to be and resemble your game after?
Oh yeah, Tom Brady. I'm a huge Patriots fan.
All right, guys. Well, we're excited to see you two. You guys obviously have New Canaan coming up week 1. You guys played them. Talk about already what's that excitement going to be like in week 1?
Oh yeah, it'll be a blast. Like we're looking forward to that game a lot. I mean, 2 great teams going at it week 1. It should be good.
And Jared, week 1, New Canaan Rams, your senior year. How fun would it be and how great would it be to get a win here week 1 against the Rams?
It'd be everything to watch in front of their big crowd. I know they're a really good team, big players. They got a lot of big fan base. It'd be something special to win against them.
All right, guys. Appreciate the time. All right, John and Frank, we'll send it back up to you. A big thank you to David Summers and Jared Malazzi. We also were able to catch up with the starting quarterback of the Greenwich Cardinals for this upcoming season. That's Gavin Muir. Gavin Muir got a chance to get some playing time last year as a sophomore with Connor Langen, the senior starting quarterback. Gavin Muir finally taking over the reins this junior year. We were able to catch up with Gavin as well. Here's what he had to say as he gets ready to take over as starting quarterback for the Cardinals. Here with the Cardinals starting quarterback Gavin Muir. And Gavin, just talk about how much fun you're having during this Grip It and Rip It tournament here at New Canaan.
This tournament's awesome. It's just a chance for me to go. Got great receivers like Jeremiah Harris, Jael Negron, Henry Sleevey, Lance Large, and work on timing. And it's just a lot of fun. Get out here with the boys, and it's going great.
Now, just talk about what you're getting ready for the upcoming season here for the Greenwich Cardinals. What's the one thing you're most excited about?
I'm excited to get out there as a new team. We have a lot of young players this year. We have a new running back, Tyson Camizio. He's going to be a junior, so it's going to be nice to go out there with this young team and see what we can do.
Now, obviously, last year you split time with Connor Langen. Connor Langen, a great quarterback, a great skillful quarterback, and a great leader. What did he tell you as you get ready to take over the reins in a way here for the Greenwich Cardinals this upcoming season?
He taught me to stay calm during the games. Before I went in my first game, he went up to me. He's like, it's just like practice. And so I just thought about that every time I've gone in since, and he's helped me a lot in practice during games. So I have a lot of credit to him. He's a great guy.
Now, what's the connection and the chemistry been like between not only your offensive line, but here in this tournament, you really get to work with your wide receivers. What's the connection like with your wideouts?
Connection's great. We go and throw the field all the time. So I feel like this just enhances our ability to go out there and make plays with defense.
Now, I was just speaking to David Summers, quarterback of the St. Joe's Cadets. Asked him, is there a certain quarterback, professional-wise in the NFL, that you take after? Is there a quarterback out there that you really enjoy watching?
I got to go with Tom Brady. He's just a winner.
That's what he said.
He's a winner, so you got to love him.
All right, Gavin, appreciate the time. Best of luck this season, all right?
Thank you.
All right, well, was that? Frank and John, back to you, my man. And again, apologize to Gavin Muir. We'll get that handshake down throughout the season.
Don't be leaving him hanging.
I won't. Gavin, I won't leave you hanging anymore. But quickly, guys, just want to ask you both your team to pick to win the FCAC this year and to make a big run, really surprise some people this upcoming fall.
To win the FCAC this year.
I got you.
I think you do.
All right,
I'm leaning toward New Canaan.
Okay.
But you know, and coaches are coaches, and they're always pessimistic. I don't want to steal St. Joe's from Mixie here.
I'm not.
So I'll let him go first.
Well, I'm taking a look at Trumbull's schedule right now. I think to win the FCAC, to win the whole thing, New Canaan. I'm going to have to go with New Canaan.
Okay.
Drew Pine was unbelievable. I mean, to have a good offense, to be led in, just the way high school football is played. If you don't have a good quarterback, it's kind of downhill. You can do different things in high school football, like have 2 or 3 good running backs, bruiser backs, hand the ball off, do reverses. But you're not led by a good quarterback. You're not going very far. And Drew Pine just has that leadership right off the bat. New Canaan's going to be a powerhouse. I like Trumbull. They don't lose much from last year. They got a tough schedule. They start off against Greenwich. So 2 great games in week 1. Trumbull and Greenwich, and then New Canaan and St. Joe's. How about that? I haven't even looked at who Darien plays off the top of my head. But if you're Trumbull, you're going to play Greenwich. You're going to have a week in Fairfield Ludlow. Then you're going to play New Canaan on the road. You're going to have a week in Trinity Catholic. And then you're going to play Norwalk. You're going to have a week in Danbury. And then you're going to play Darien. Then you're going to have a week in West Hill. And you're going to play St. Joe's. So every other week. I don't want to say they get a practice week, but it's going to be no days off for Trumbull either. You got to wonder what Ridgefield's going to do. Ridgefield, arguably one of the best teams in the state last year, and they really came through in a big way. I think if you're just looking off of not necessarily saying, hey, how you doing to every single player in the entire FCAC and looking at all their footage, I'd go New Canaan. Watch out for Trumbull. They could give New Canaan a run for their money earlier. They play them in week 3. On the other side of things, you take a look at the East Division. Yeah, St. Joe's, Darien. That's going to be huge. Don't really see anybody else that could make. We didn't see Wilton. We didn't see Ridgefield. We didn't see Trumbull. We didn't see Trinity. So it's still early. A lot of questions on the table, right, John?
Marks. All right, Johnny, here's your shot. Who you got?
I'm going to go early with New Canaan just because I saw them play, but let's get the pads on before we pick. I mean, this was a 7-on-7. This was a glorified practice. Let's get the pads on, and then we'll pick seriously and really discuss it. You asked about New Canaan week 1. They open up at Ridgefield. What direction are those two teams going? Week 3, St. Joe's visits Darien.
Yeah.
But that is the front of that schedule is going to be a lot of fun.
Ridgefield. Wow, so that's 3 huge games in week 1.
Yep.
All the powerhouses.
It's going to be an exciting fall. Getting Johnny ready for FCAC tailgate. That's what I'm
ready
doing.
now. Let's go.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for today. Mike Suppy directing, thank you very much. Join us tomorrow. We have an action-packed show tomorrow. We have Mike Buswell and some of his players from the 14U Trumbull baseball team. They're going to join us in studio. We'll also have Paul Carcaterra from ESPN, one of the lacrosse analysts. He's going to join us. We're going to talk a little wax. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Don't forget, join Kate Chaplinsky at 11 a.m. for Coffee Break. That'll do it for Nutmeg Sports Today. I'm Kevin Coleman. See you tomorrow.